At 6:30, we start above downtown Minneapolis. A live look at the damage from Sky 11. Several stores looted and at least one building burned after confusion over an apparent suicide. The National Guard called in overnight, and a curfew that had been in place expired about 30 minutes ago. We have team coverage today bringing you the latest this morning. Alicia with the traffic updates. We have Ellery and Kaya live. Let's start with Kaya. What are you seeing this morning? You're on scene.
Good morning, Chris. You know, that curfew expired about half an hour ago, and we're seeing a lot of people walking around downtown as the day gets started, but they are walking around the aftermath, the things like police tape lining the streets, piles of glass. You can see buses are back up and running right now here downtown. Now, as for what led up to all of this, police say the man in the video that you are about to see was suspected of shooting and killing another man inside a parking ramp near Target Center. Here's what happened that evening near Nicollet Mall.
When the video begins, the suspect, seen here in a white shirt, gray pants, and a gray baseball cap, is standing in a group of people at the corner of 8th and Nicollet. The city camera, which was being controlled remotely, then follows him as he walks up the street. As this happens, responding officers are arriving on scene, and as the camera repositions, they begin closing in on the suspect. Just then, it appears as though he changes course, walking by a group of people and pulling out a gun. At this point, an additional wider camera is repositioned, revealing at least one officer with what appears to be a weapon drawn, and as the crowd reacts to it all, the suspect appears to raise his gun to his chin. At this point, we're not going to play the video further because we don't want to show what could be the man taking his own life. Within 3 seconds of collapsing, an officer runs up, kicks the gun away, appears to check his pulse, and remove the man's backpack. He then rolls him over onto his back to begin chest compressions.
We are able to release the video in this instance. They are city cameras, and our officers were not involved in any deadly use of force. Had that been the case, we would have turned all of this over to the BCA.
You're looking at right now shattered glass here at Hubert White. This store is right next to Nordstrom Rack, where we're also seeing broken glass. And actually, almost every business around here, we're seeing damage, if not on their building, right in front of it. You know, there might be piles of glass, as I mentioned, and there's police tape. Really, now that the sun's up, I'm seeing just how it's everywhere downtown. I mean, like stretching across over there. And so kind of an unusual morning, you could say, downtown, but things are getting back into the swing of things. The morning routines are kind of coming back as the buses get going now, and people kind of look around and take pictures of everything that is happening.
Another blow for downtown business owners. They have a lot of cleanup to do this morning. Thanks for that, Kaya. Scenes similar to the one Kaya just showed us stretch up and down Nicollet Mall. Business owners already out early this morning starting that cleanup. Sky 11 up live over the Loring Park neighborhood. This is a shot that you see of downtown, the city streets. We can't tell you if Speedway at the corner of Grant and LaSalle was looted last night. That's just a few blocks from Nicollet Mall. The area also hit by numerous looters overnight, broken glass and whatnot. Ellery is outside Brits Pub, another business that was hit. Ellery, what are you seeing there this morning?
Yeah, so Chris, within the last 20 minutes or so, a gentleman has come here to Brits Pub and he started cleaning up the area because, as we showed you all morning, I mean, tons of glass everywhere because this place was set on fire. There was furniture outside of the business. So this gentleman has been inside and he is kind of sweeping up some of the flooded water because the sprinklers had been going off overnight. Lots of glass everywhere, so he's trying to sweep that away from the sidewalk. He says the owner should be here shortly, so who knows, maybe we can talk with him at some point as he gets his first kind of look at the damage here. But I want to show you a video from overnight of the fire inside of Brits Pub. I mean, it was intense at some points. Our photojournalist Reed Bolton captured someone throwing things at the restaurant, like chairs and other things, trying to break those windows. And then a time later, someone came over with a fire extinguisher trying to put out that fire, again here at Brits Pub. Now, overnight along Nicollet Mall, our team saw a lot of looting as well. MPD Chief Chief Maderi Arredondo estimates up to 500 people were downtown at some point. The Minnesota State Patrol and the National Guard were called in. Our team saw tear gas and rubber bullets being shot out by law enforcement. Governor Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey calling for peace overnight as well.
What our city needs right now is healing. We need peace. This destruction and property damage just takes away from that underlying goal.
So again, back here live outside of Britt's Pub. This is along Nicollet Mall near 11th. You can see a couple gentlemen here taking their first look at the damage here, as again it was set on fire. There are windows totally blasted out, and a lot of water damage and damage from inside. Chris, I was saying earlier this morning there were two things I could smell when I was around this area. I could smell smoke from the fire and from kind of the embers from overnight, and beer. Alcohol. And it was just about an hour or so, or maybe 2 hours ago, we saw someone come in here, grab a bunch of bottles of alcohol from behind the bar. So looting was still happening when we came upon this scene about a couple hours ago.
No business on Nicollet was safe last night. Glad to see some sort of normalcy coming back to the area at this time. Thank you, Ellery. Now, all of this unrest playing out live on social media. Alicia is giving us a closer look at what people were posting online.
Yeah, Chris, so many of us, including myself, been watching everything play out online. So here are some of the shocking images and videos that I've seen from overnight. Now, it was a chaotic scene on Nicollet Mall. You saw the aftermath there from Ellery. Looting was happening along that entire stretch. You can see people trying to break into the store using what appears to be some sort of hubcap, or a viewer pointed out to me that it looks like the top of a garbage can. Now, that same object was used to assault a Minneapolis police officer in this shocking video. You can see someone throwing it at the back of the officer's head as he falls to the ground. A reporter from the Star Tribune finding out this morning that the officer seen in that video was hospitalized last night with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The Minnesota National Guard was also called in to help to assist local law enforcement, deploying multiple vehicles to downtown Minneapolis. This video showing a line of troopers and some members of the Guard blocking off 8th Street near 2nd Avenue. And Governor Walz tweeting that this dangerous and unlawful behavior won't be tolerated, saying, quote, "It's time to heal. We must rebuild and recover." Now, Chris, Minneapolis City Council member Jeremiah Ellison, he was tweeting a lot last night. It sounded like he was there, maybe on the scene, but he was tweeting that the city will come together. We will rebuild as the city of Minneapolis. But he says what happened overnight is proof that there's a lot of lack of trust in our public safety system, and something there needs to change.
Yeah, well, last night the National Guard was on scene a lot quicker than in previous incidents. Thank you for updating us on that, Alicia. Now, with the conversation surrounding suicide this morning, we want to take a moment to acknowledge that for many, this may trigger difficult emotions. If you or anyone you know needs to reach out for help, we've got the National Suicide Hotline up on the screen for you right now.